Hey everybody, I'm Ronald Long with the Wayside 410 campus, and I have week 3 of our recap of Good News, the story of life and death. We're talking about Jesus as he's walking towards his crucifixion, mainly looking at it through the lens of Luke 22. I shared with the students that this week was going to be about denial, Peter's denial, and brought into the story how my kids love to watch me play video games. Now, it's not because what's on the screen is fantastic, and it's not even because I'm a particularly great video game player. It's actually, they like to watch me because I'm really bad. Especially when we play Donkey Kong, because I play Donkey Kong and I die a lot. And when I die in the video game, I make noises like, no, or come on, and they think that's hilarious. And so when it's Dad's turn to play video games, they like to watch me fail. They really enjoy watching me mess up. And so we kind of wove that into the question, when is it okay to fail? And it's hard because we don't like to mess up, right? We don't like to fail. We actually would like to get it right. And so we talked about, okay, why don't we like to fail? What keeps us from failing? Or even, what would we do if we knew we would not fail? Like if we knew we wouldn't mess up at it, is there anything that we would do, but fear of failure keeps us from doing it? Well, we talked about Peter's denial and where it would look like in the Bible that he failed. Starting in Luke 22:54, we went all the way through the times that Peter denied Jesus 3 separate times. And remember, when we started this series, we looked at Luke 22 at the very beginning when Peter said, Jesus, I will die for you. I'll go to prison for you. And Jesus told Peter, no, you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows. And in this story, we get to that moment where the rooster crows and Peter locks eyes with Jesus. And he sees that, in fact, he did deny Jesus 3 times, just like he was told he was going to. In the last verse that we read we talked about when Peter went away and wept bitterly because he had failed. Now, what we talked about also, our main point in this, is that failure is not the end. When we fail, when we mess up, when we disappoint, it's not the end because God knows our failures before we do. Even in this circumstance with Peter, Jesus told Peter, you will deny me 3 times. And even in that moment, Jesus knew what Peter was going to do. And he didn't kick him out of the house and say, since you're going to deny me, there'll be no Lord's Supper for you. Or even further, since you're going to deny me, don't even bother coming to the garden to pray with me. No, Jesus knew that Peter was going to fail him. And he even continued to let Peter come along. Especially since God has a plan for our failures. Jesus told Peter, after you deny me 3 times, encourage your brothers. There was a plan to it. Now, we talked about how Peter was the only one who went with Jesus to where he was taken to the high priest's house. All the other disciples fled. What could Peter do after he denied Jesus? Well, he could encourage those others who had fled, had abandoned Jesus just as much as Peter had. But in Peter's case, we see the Bible story of him denying Jesus those 3 separate occasions. So we wanted to remind students that failure is not the end. God knows we will disappoint. God knows we will sin. That's why he sent Jesus. And so trying to help students understand that when we fail and we mess up and we sin, that's not the end of our story. God can use our sin and our failures to further his kingdom and his glory, and often does. And so that's where we landed this week in our series, talking about the good news, using Luke 22 to kind of set the stage for Easter Sunday. We're looking forward to hanging out with you guys on Easter Sunday and hope to see you soon. Bye.